General quarters? Okay.
Tylus, you should be in sickbay.
I'll finish this.
I couldn't just lie there knowing the entire fate of Hotari hangs in the balance. How did it go?
As well as could be
You look
expected.
exhausted.
It went about as well as could be expected, under the circumstances.
Oh, that's a relief, because I was fearing the worst. I heard a rumor that they'd made a deal, that the Elydians agreed to peace. After what we saw Sidron do to the diplomat in the mines, I could hardly believe there was hope, but then... Is that true?
No, they're all Takan.
I'm afraid the truth is far worse than that.
There's no deal.
No. They're all Takan now. The Hotari, the Elydians, everyone.
No. That can't be true.
I'm sorry.
Where will I go? I can't go back. I don't have a home anymore.
I say it's not lost.
Everything I've ever known is gone.
Hotari isn't lost yet. This is far from over. It will be your home again, I promise.
Thank you.
The Federation stands with the Hotari. You don't have to doubt it for a second.
Yellow alert.
Oh, you don't hear that
Commander
very
Rydick,
often.
we need you on the bridge immediately.
I think yellow is we think there's danger, but we're not entirely sure. Or it's something odd. Basically.
Commander.
Good to have you back. You didn't opt for the ocular implants.
Maybe someday. The visor was the best the doc could do on short notice.
We've got an Elydian ship, the Veskar, rapidly bearing down on our position.
Or what was the Veskar? Now I'm not so sure.
Bring it up on the view screen.
600 kilometers in closing. Still coming straight for us. Commander?
Have you tried hailing them?
Have you tried hailing them?
Try it.
Hailing the Elydian ship now. No response.
400 kilometers in closing.
Shields up. Ready phasers.
Shields up. Phasers ready. Incoming.
Lock phasers and open fire.
Heavy damage. But deflectors still at full power?
That bypassed our shields entirely.
That's impossible.
Oh no.
God damn it, return fire. Everything we've got. Rydick, modulate the shield frequencies. See if you can get us any cover.
Commander,
I've got this. Just keep firing.
Invert shield polarity. It always works.
Shields still have no effect.
That doesn't make sense.
I'll try another.
Modulate the shield's mutation.
There!
We've got incoming. How do they keep matching our shield frequency?
They couldn't. Unless... They've compromised our shield algorithms. They can bypass our shields at will.
What?
Captain!
Is he
He's
dead?
out cold.
I'm the captain now.
Why'd they stop?
Damage report.
Running on emergency power. Major hull damage on decks 4 through 7. Warp core is stable and intact.
We're completely vulnerable.
Commander, we're being held by the Veskar. It's Galvin.
On screen?
On screen.
Commander Rydick, where's your captain? Not dead, I hope. At least, not yet.
You're dealing with me.
You're dealing with me. Is that a problem?
One inferior life form is as good as another. I have to give you credit, Commander. You survived longer than I thought you would. But make no mistake, your shields are useless. Your weapons ineffective, and there's nothing you can do. I could destroy you at any moment, but I'd rather hear your pleas for mercy first. Your existence is entirely in my hands, and I'm not in a forgiving mood.
Let's go for A.
It's entirely possible you could destroy us. But the truth is, we're worth more to you alive than dead. Better if we report back to Starfleet about the power of Takonian technology and the futility of fighting it.
There might be value in that. I've been thinking about what you said, Commander. That the Federation would stop me no matter what. Your performance in this encounter has not supported that claim.
The Veskar's weapons are powering up.
But the Takan are not mere savages.
Okay.
So I've decided to let you live. Because there's merit to the idea you're worth more to me alive. Tell your Federation that Takan are as merciful as they are powerful. That you were fortunate to escape with your lives. But next time, you may not be so lucky.
We have to be polite. Otherwise,
If
he
you're
might
even
just shoot
brave
us.
enough to face me again.
We appreciate your mercy.
And you rely on it.
Okay, he's
I've
off.
lost their signal.
Can you track their warp signature?
Nothing. It's untraceable, just like before.
Notify Ambassador Spock. I want everyone in the briefing room to discuss our options.
Oh, he's back. He's awake
What's the
again.
status of the repairs?
Hull breach should be patched up in a matter of hours. Impulse power is at 67%. Should be fully restored soon.
Still no luck tracking Galvin's warp signature. They've all but disappeared.
Keep trying. Finding that son of a bitch is the best shot we've got.
Commander Rydick, you had the con after the ship was attacked. What is your assessment? Given our current situation,
We need
the losses may have
reinforcements.
suffered.
I'd rather not fight this alone. We need to call for reinforcements.
In that case, we might have an option. Portal
Oh.
6-3, Guardian of the Takan Empire. If anyone could find Galvin, it would be him.
That's assuming he's willing to help us.
True, but there's only one way to find out.
Wouldn't we need to secure authorization from the Federation Council to contact him?
The nearest Federation outpost is Angoria. I can travel there by shuttle and inform them personally of the threat from the Takan. Meanwhile, the Resolute can travel to the Delphi Ardu system in search of Portal 6-3.
I still have my doubts.
I do not. Captain William T. Riker has first-hand experience with the area and with Portal 6-3. His guidance will prove invaluable and should
I'm
alleviate
sorry, what?
your concerns.
Delphi Ardu 4 is a restricted zone for good reason. For all we know, we could be walking into a trap. Not to mention the high likelihood Portal 6-3's allegiance will be with the Takan. It's just too much of a risk. A waste of time. Time we can't afford to lose.
It's the only way to find them.
Right now, we have no way of knowing where those two Elydian ships are, or where they're going. Another Takonian might be able to at least point us in the right direction.
Or we're the ones pointing him right toward his fellow Takan, making the problem worse.
I am inclined to agree with Commander Rydick. Her logic is sound. This portal may have knowledge that proves to be invaluable, including information on the nature of the Cartabula. We must act on the facts at hand.
Then we'll give it our best.
I'll arrange a meeting with Captain Riker.
And I will speak with the Council. They need to understand the magnitude of the situation. I can leave for Andoria immediately. I wish you luck finding Portal 6-3. The very future of the Federation may rest in your hands.
Okay.
It takes a minimum of 8 crew on the bridge to run the ship, so we can expect at least that many hostiles.
If they bioformed Hadri, they know we're coming.
Which means everyone needs to be ready for... Take cover!
An ambush.
Now what? We need that door sealed.
We can handle that. Where do you need us?
There's an access panel there. You should be able to patch into the local systems.
We'll be shot getting there.
I'll cover you. On my signal. Now!
Okay.
Damn.
Open it. Okay, we'll move the stick in, and we got it.
Looking for the bridge doors. Wait, what's this?
Got something?
Gravity. If I invert the artificial gravity inside the bridge, that'll throw anyone on the bridge right up into the ceiling.
He'll never see it coming.
Itasca, get ready to charge.
Charge?
Reversing gravity polarity. Now!
Amazing.
Close in!
How do we get them down?
We got the bridge. It's not bad.
What are we gonna do with them?
We don't have time to take prisoners.
So you're just gonna shoot him?
I haven't decided yet.
That's not just up to you.
I'm the ranking officer.
We don't kill
We're
prisoners.
not in your army.
It may not be convenient, but we don't kill enemies who've surrendered.
Keeping prisoners is a luxury we don't have.
It's not a damn luxury.
You're an engineer, not a soldier. This is clearly my territory.
You think you have enemy combatants here? This is a hostage situation. Each one of them has an innocent life inside. I'll keep watch on them.
As will I. We can't let our guard down around the enemy.
Petty Officer Diaz and I will figure out how to stop the ship.
Let's hurry. The rest of the Takan could show up any minute. Crystals. They're all over this place.
Okay, we do have our tricorder.
Where's the captain?
Captain Ostego did not survive the atmosphere poisoning.
I'm sorry to hear that.
He died defending the Empire. That's how he'd want it.
Okay, moving on. What have we got here?
This console looks unaffected.
Good. Seeing if we got anything else. We do. This one? Nice. Okay, good odd look at it.
Gotta figure this out before we get wherever we're going. If the Resolute can't catch up to us, we're in a whole different kind of trouble.
Okay. Oh, we got a few more here. This one?
There are two interfaces on top of each other.
This is not Lydian programming.
Okay, so they've got some of their own programming in there. Chat to you.
Everything under control?
Yes, these Takan haven't made a move. Yet.
And what you're doing is working.
There's plenty more I can do. But it doesn't have to be that way. As long as they behave.
Good. Right, what have we got here? Oh, I cannot go that way. I can go this way, though.
Huh.
Careful where you point that thing.
It's not active. I can't see any way this would work as a weapon. It's dead.
Out of ammo?
I'm not sure.
Maybe you have to be a Takan to use the weapon. Seems like a pretty good way to make sure it doesn't backfire. Who's over here? Oh, it's our friend. Hello.
Any trouble?
Don't worry about me. Worry about Stretch over there.
Why?
He's looking for any excuse to vaporize the prisoners. But I'll make sure he doesn't. Even if they're the enemy, it's not right.
I'm here if you need a hand.
Just hurry up and figure out this bridge. That's the best way to help.
Okay, will do. Will do. Let's head this way. And then around, and what's up with the console?
Look here. It's navigational data.
We saw that already. Headed to the edge of the galaxy.
It's only a display. We couldn't use it to change course or alter speed.
Okay, so now we need to tricorder some of this stuff.
We're gonna be there in less than an hour.
We can't let that happen.
Hold on, it would take days to go this distance with our fastest ship. We're traveling at a warp factor many times greater than this ship should even be capable of. What are the engines doing to produce this kind of speed?
Okay, good point. Is the console that's still on?
Engines are redline, running at full power. But this main drive manifold is spiking way over nominal levels.
Very dangerous.
Even at 100% output, the warp cores wouldn't push this much plasma to the drive section.
The reactor output matches the high speed, doesn't it?
Whether it's these crystals or the power from the Cartabula, the Takan have found a way to increase the engine output and top speed. We have to find a way to hit the brakes before we outrun anyone who could help us.
We stop it, so they can't get this ship where they're going, and enact the next phase of their plan. That is, if they don't destroy us all first. I would have thought this ship would disintegrate going this speed. But somehow, that hasn't happened yet.
You're pointing out the Voyager episode where they go be above warp 10. There are some oddities about that one. In other episodes, they have gone above warp 10, and there's also things like Q in the Traveler, which also allow you to travel significantly further without any kind of logic, and wormholes and shit. So yeah, there's a chance there's something going on here. Okay. Well, we just do our part.
We do our part, and just worry about that. I don't know what more they have to their plan.
People like this are never satisfied. There's always more that they want. And they are obviously going somewhere.
I hate to think what the Cartabula could do if it was plugged into something it was meant to power.
Okay. Crystals. Excuse me.
These crystals are Takan technology. They seem to be active, just like the rest of their tech. Tetrametric pulses.
Tetrametric?
It's the energy signature of Takan technology. Everything they make gives off this type of radiation.
They're blocking the inputs. It's not responding at all. Everything I try, it just ignores.
Let's try the other console.
Maybe we should try that other console.
Good idea.
Okay, the one that's all jammed up.
It's the Takan language.
From what I can tell, the ship's systems are actively responding to input.
Which is the opposite of how most bridges work. They usually send commands, not receive them.
It's from an intrusive program. This control station won't do us any good either. What have they done to this bridge?
Consoles running themselves, some clogged up with crystals that are sending off tetrametric pulses.
But none of this is sending signals outward. It's receiving.
They're flying the ship from somewhere else.
That should be impossible. But it explains why there's less than a full bridge crew. If they aren't flying the ship from the bridge, where are they controlling it from?
That's everything. We got some answers.
I don't like what they tell us, though.
If we can learn nothing else, then what's left is to make these Takan talk. And if they don't, we'll dispose of them.
Hey, that's not how we do this.
That is enough from you.
Nope. Nope.
I thought that thing was useless.
It was. No power. Until he touched it.
Ah. Okay.
The weapons must be biocoded.
That's what we thought.
Technology will only work for one of our kind.
I can assure you, this weapon works just fine for me.
Slow down, Arminta.
You can't control the ship with a disruptor.
But I can use it to control you.
Ah!
Let's talk.
And now cut back to the other one. Number 1.
The Titan's communications officer says Captain Riker will be ready in just a moment. You need to see this. The report on the data breach.
That's a timeline thing. We were talking about this at the start of the game. Because we knew it was after the Dominion War, but we didn't know exactly where it places it. Riker being in charge of the Titan means that this is concurrent to lower decks, right? Because it's the same time, basically. But before Picard, like significantly before Picard, but after, but around the same time as lower decks. Anyway, there we go.
Damn, it's worse than I'd hoped. They didn't just compromise our shields. They stole the shield algorithms for all of Starfleet as well. Meaning every ship is potentially vulnerable to attack, making this so much worse than it already was.
Starfleet has to know.
Given the potential consequences, we should notify Starfleet as soon as possible.
I don't disagree, but I'll reach out to Ambassador Spock about it. I don't want to cause a panic, and I doubt he does either.
I have Captain Riker for you.
Let's not mention any of this shield business to Riker just yet.
Oh no, we
Put him
should.
through.
We should definitely mention that to Riker.
Captain Riker, this is my first officer, Commander Jara Rydek.
My pleasure.
Sir.
I wish we were all meeting under better circumstances.
So do I, although you and I have actually met before.
We have?
I was a young lieutenant on the Potemkin. You were first officer on the Tuckerman. I piloted you and our science officer in a shuttle to survey quantum resonance in the planetary rings of Residius 6.
Ah, yes. Now I remember.
You know, he gave me some good advice that day about a very difficult job. Yours.
Well, I'm not one to turn down some words of wisdom, sir.
And let me ask, as first officer on a starship, where does your responsibility lie, first and foremost? To the captain, the crew, or the ship itself?
Oh, this old chestnut. I am curious to hear what she says, though.
The ship?
Well, without the ship, we'd be in a lot of trouble. So...
Anybody ever choose the ship when you asked?
I can't say that they have.
The truth is, it's a trick question. Every situation is different, and there are no easy answers. And in some cases, it might not be any of those three. It could be the prime directive. Or the mission.
Yes, so perhaps we should get to the matter at hand. When you were with the Enterprise, you encountered a Takan entity known as Portal 6-3. The Enterprise was held captive in orbit until you were able to convince him to let the ship go.
All of which is detailed in the mission report.
what we want from you is what we can't get from the report. What can we use to get Portal 6-3 to help us?
I've often thought about that over the years. How a small difference in the encounter could have led to disaster. The most important thing is, don't let him push you around. He can appear as a man or as a godlike projection. He'll test you, but don't be overwhelmed by the pageantry and theatrics.
I can stand my ground.
I'll stand up to him. You can trust in that.
Good. But that's just the first step. Portal is full of bluster and bravado, but he can be reasoned with. And that's my other piece of advice. You want to appeal to him rationally. You don't want him thinking you're acting out of fear.
But we are afraid of the Takan, and with good reason.
He's not the sort to suffer fools. And he'll lose interest if he feels his time is being wasted.
Oh, I remember this episode now.
That's one thing we have in common.
Does he know the Takan are back?
Do you think he knows that the Takan have returned?
He didn't even know they were gone when we went there. But the moment the Enterprise dropped into orbit around Delphi Ardu 4, he downloaded the entirety of the ship's computer. So I'd expect the same when you get there.
What if he won't cooperate and we have to face these Takan ourselves?
Then we have a much bigger problem on our hands.
What I mean is, in the 16 years since you discovered this outpost, there has to have been research. Battle plans for what to do about the Takan if we encountered more of them. I need to know what they are.
If I had that answer, it would have been the first thing I told you.
We both know Command has had their share of hidden plans in the past. Like Admiral Hansen and Captain Shelby's Special Projects Division at Starfleet Tactical, devising new ways to take on the Borg.
Trust me.
That, what he just mentioned there, by the way, spoilers for Picard, that's in Picard Season 3. Like, that exact thing. Just want to throw that out there. Like, it was also before then, but I think that shows that the writers of this, at the very least, had some information going forward. Or were given some information to include. At least, that's what I'm saying here. Anyway, moving on.
This isn't some Starfleet conspiracy to keep you in the dark. But if you two don't think you're equipped to make contact, you need to tell me now. Because there is no silver bullet here. Now's not the time to hesitate.
We know what we're doing.
I need to know you're up to this.
You're not the only one who's met the Takan anymore. We've faced them in combat. We're not just the right ones for the job. We're the only ones.
All right. Asked and answered. There was a special task force that considered the Takan, and I was part of it. But because there were no other signs of the Empire, we determined the best course of action was to create a restricted zone around the Delphi Ardu system. I have my concerns, but I'll clear the way with the brass for your travel into the restricted space. Just remember what I've told you. And it wouldn't hurt to read some Sun Tzu en route. Or Marcus Aurelius.
Anything else?
Machiavelli?
Your support is appreciated.
Thank you for your support, Captain Riker.
I wish I could be there myself. But my first officer would probably see to it that I stay on the bridge while they get all the excitement on the away mission. The burdens of command. Rest assured, the Federation is taking this threat very seriously. You won't be alone out there for too long.
Thank you, Captain Riker.
One more thing. Ambassador Spock said that Takan stole some data from your central computer. What's that all about?
We're still assessing the extent of the breach. Nothing to report as of right now.
That's it?
Nope.
Ambassador Spock suggested it was something more serious.
One thing we know is that they stole Starfleet shield algorithms.
The shield algorithms? That could jeopardize every ship in the fleet.
We're still making sure our assessment is accurate. We don't want to raise alarms unnecessarily.
This is as real as it gets, Solano. I have to talk to Starfleet Command now, so I think this conversation has come to an end. I really do hope you get Portal 6-3 and find those Takan before this gets out of control. Riker out.
Ooh.
I specifically said I wanted to keep this under wraps. I thought we had an understanding. Now all of Starfleet will hear about this.
Yes, someone had to tell them.
Considering this is new information Ambassador Spock doesn't have yet, I figured Captain Riker would be the closest to communicate directly with Starfleet Command.
Now the cat's out of the bag. I have to think about the damage control of it all. You're dismissed.
It's the automated Federation warning buoy. Transmitting the disable code Captain Riker provided.
Oh yeah, we haven't seen our Bajoran pilot the entire game. They introduced him at the start and he hasn't said a single word.
That was unpleasant. Commander Ermont, what are the conditions of our systems?
All internal systems operational.
Commander Westbrook, what are your scans of the planet?
Nothing out of the ordinary.
No sign of this outrageously powerful Takan being?
I'm running a magneton scan now, but so far, nothing.
Where are you?
Oh, apparently he did have a
Prep your
line.
way, team.
My mistake.
We don't know if Portal 6-3 will cooperate. If he's not an asset, he's an enemy. So be ready for anything.
Okay. Not for the timid. Well.
Prove you're worth keeping alive for a little while longer.
I cannot stop this ship any more than you could stop the tides.
Not good enough.
The impotent threats of a lower life form do not sway me. I will not bend to you. I was born 600,000 years ago. But a new age dawns today.
Let's ask about the Scion of the Flame.
Are you the Scion of the Flame?
My name is Zan Utlosa. I was born in the final days of the Age of Makto. And we are all Scions of the Flame. Every one of us who have traveled across the Bridge of Time to be here for the Great Awakening. We have all sworn ourselves to the cause.
Eventually, one of you will break.
You don't understand how overmatched you truly are. This craft was nothing before we imbued it with the speed required by our mission. And the Cartabula produces enough energy to drive an entire fleet of ships like this one. But when we wake the Aphelion, we won't need a fleet.
The Aphelion?
Only then will you understand the might of the Takan Empire. Reborn in this time. This is just a drop in an ocean of power you cannot even imagine.
So what is it?
And when you wake the Aphelion, what are you going to do with it?
Anything we want.
Come on! This goes from bad to worse unless you do what they say.
Oh. So you can power it just by touching it and then we can use it?
Alive.
He can't stop the ship.
Then he will. Or we cut off his hands and use them ourselves.
The moment I reduce speed or change our heading, the others will know. First, they'll just resume course from elsewhere. Trivial matter. And then, they will come here. For you, this is a dead end.
We can deal with that.
That's a risk I'm willing to take.
Not if they're just going to start it again.
So you believe him?
I'm not sure.
Why would you tell us all this?
I tell you because I value my own life. When my fellow Scions come, and they will come, I expect you'll all act like the savages you are, and a battle runs you. You've all died once. I don't intend to do so again. I won't touch those controls. If you want to get us killed, do it yourselves.
You fear death. There's a way to stop this ship for good, and he knows how. He just needs more pressure.
What kind of pressure?
We hurt him, he'll talk. Trust me.
That's against Starfleet protocol.
You're not on a Starfleet ship. Your protocol does not apply. We take the action that will lead to our victory. Don't assume your moral code takes precedence above all others.
No, it does, because it's what we do.
I'm not gonna torture them. Not like this. There's gotta be something we can work with here.
Oh, okay.
What's this?
This display shows the location of the Takan on the ship. This is where the infiltrators are, the central artery of ship systems. Sensors, propulsion, weapons. Doesn't seem to be working here.
This is weird. This area here?
Power generation. The warp cores.
It's deserted. Going this fast, it would be too dangerous to force a warp collapse by cracking one of the propulsion coils. That could rupture the hull. End up damaging the Cartabula in the process.
Okay.
That risks tearing a hole in space.
We can't have that.
Engine status. Right. The warp cores are still practically redlined. However they've supercharged the Zeldi, it still relies on existing systems.
They just amplify the output?
But the Takan have already interfaced with those systems. The controls will be no use. So we'd have to find a way to manually shut down the warp cores.
Might not be a manual shutdown as much as it'll be sabotage.
No one appears to be guarding it. I think I can get us there. But once we're in, do you really think you can cripple my ship? Not something I'd normally ask, but I'm coming around to it.
I got this.
I got this. I'm an engineer. This is my territory.
Then we'll follow your lead.
This plan of yours has one problem. It strands us. Left out of the fight when there is a war going on.
Our fight is here, now. This is how we do the most good. For the Empire.
For the Empire.
So, Carter, you didn't beam out after all.
Oh?
I thought you'd escaped when we boarded. I had almost hoped you'd made it off. And Nilly's there with you too, right? It's good you two are together.
Let's do flirty banter.
Sounds like you miss me.
Miranda might have. She was so hopeful about you. But that's not why I called. You're not a fighter. I know it. You know it. That's why you're hiding. Somewhere on this ship. But the Takan Empire has so much to offer you. Think of all the knowledge lost for 500,000 years that you'd have access to. I know you want more from life, and I want to show you what you could be a part of. Not just the wonders you've already seen from us. In our time, we had the power to move stars. Carter, you have a thirst for discovery. And a part of you would remain to experience the things I can show you.
Let's twist it
If
around.
you try to fight it, you're only gonna make things worse.
You don't know what you're doing. Miranda, we can help you, but you have to fight.
Miranda is a part of us now. She's accepted that.
You're lying.
I have no reason to lie. Every one of us on this crusade has fought wars more brutal and consuming than you could fathom. But I want to reach a peaceful resolution to this. Carter, we have a plan for you. And for the others, too. We don't want to have to destroy you.
Let's say we'll negotiate with Miranda.
I'll negotiate with Miranda. Our Miranda. When you release her.
She's still here, in a way. We can continue this conversation in person. I'll see you on the bridge very soon.
Our comm badges. She's tracking our location with them.
If we have to use force to free our fellow Scions, there will be casualties.
We can't stay here. And we need to disable the transmitters.
Where'd you go? You don't want to talk to me?
She's trying to keep you talking.
I mean, I get it. But I'm trying to help
Oh, we have to have a last word.
You're still there. I think that's because you know we have something to offer you. And you're starting to do the math. And realizing that making peace with us is better than the alternative.
I just want one thing.
What's that?
For you to go to hell.
Okay, we did it.
Got it.
Mine's done too.
Time to hit the road.
You've forgotten something. They know where we're going.
They also have a badge on. A comm badge? Oh.
Set to stun. You're not going to shoot a guy who's unconscious, are you?
You keep getting in my way.
We've managed this far without doing it your way.
We're on the same
We are hardly
side.
in control of this situation.
You two forget you're on the same side? Come on!
You could have at least let him shoot one with a phaser. Would have made him feel better. Oh no, he's coming with us. Okay. We're just gonna leave him there. I guess so. That's fine, I guess. So now we're gonna see Portal 6-3. The Last Guardian. Yeah, they could have given him one of our guns, even if his gun doesn't have a stun setting. It's not like he can't use
Coordinates
it.
match the exact location where Riker met Portal 6-3.
Unlike Riker's team, we beamed down without a problem.
It's quiet.
Portal has to know we're here.
If he won't come to us, we'll go to him. Spread out.
Why would you spread out? Why would we not just go together?
Already gave it a scan. Dead. Whole planet feels like it's been turned to stone.
Doctor?
Commander? Keeping an eye on those duridium levels? Good. Last thing we need are your cells destabilizing on a hostile alien planet.
Sorry, is that right? Chapter 27 of 40. Just out of curiosity, is that right? Just waiting for confirmation before we do anything else here. So it's 27 of 40, then I have to leave it. So I'm just waiting for confirmation that that is correct. Oh, you're just making a joke. Okay. I mean, that's fine, but like, okay, carrying on. It's fine. I was just thinking 27 of 40 means that we were halfway through. That'd be crazy. Okay. We're fine.
Burn marks.
The report mentioned phaser fire being redirected toward these strange crystals.
It also mentioned Portal calling down lightning bolts.
Better keep our guards up. If I recall right, Geordi LaForge transported in here, hanging upside down.
I guess we're lucky we were spared the indignity.
Anything unusual, Commander?
It's all unusual, to be honest. We've precious little data on this planet, so brief was Captain Riker's visit. Anything he didn't see himself is a total unknown.
We deal with unknowns all the time. Part of the job.
I'm accustomed to dealing with the unknown from my station on the bridge.
Okay. Right. Hello. Doing an 8-hour stream makes up for the fact I only stream once every 3 months. Yeah, could do. Right. I just chose a direction and went for it.
Portal 6-3! Anybody!
Is this music gone like a little bit more, it sounds a little bit more like the music for, like, we're visiting a dangerous place from TNG.
This is where Portal 6-3 projected his image.
It's not quite there, but it's a little bit.
He was guarding this bridge. That has to mean something.
We'll move forward when you're ready, Commander.
Yeah, it could be the music from the episode, which would make sense. Or at least something that's trying to be like the music from the episode.
Follow me.
Can I even use my tricorder? I don't think so. Yeah.
Ends here. Is it me, or did that path just disappear?
There was a path there a moment ago.
There must be an explanation.
tetrametric pulses.
Same energy as the other Takan technology.
Well, most of the crystals appear dormant. What's different about this one?
Readings indicate there's a cavity in the rock right behind it.
We could try melting a hole through the wall with our phasers.
Worth a try.
Okay.
Nothing.
There's gotta be a weakness. Somewhere it isn't totally solid.
Oh, there we go.
Whoa!
An illusion.
I'm sure that wall was as real as the rest of them. I felt it.
It's almost like our holodeck technology, but far more advanced.
Holodeck,
The crystals
you say?
must be absorbing the energy from our phasers.
I'm picking up something. A biosignature. It's faint, but it's there.
With me.
Right, let's go. Through here and...
Another dead end.
Or another illusion.
Crewman LaRue, if you would.
Crewman LaRue sounds like a person who should be wearing a red shirt.
Duval to Resolute. Beam Crewman LaRue
Well, there we
directly
go.
to medical.
Is he okay?
He'll live.
Not all crystals work the same, it seems.
Don't fire your phasers at any crystals unless we're sure they're putting out the same pulses as before.
Commander, I may be able to speed up the process. I can now detect many different wavelengths of radiation simply by looking. The Takan radiation is unusual, so I can't quite clear it all up, but I was able to eliminate many of the non-tetrametric crystals. Your tricorder should warn you.
That's an enormous help. Thank you, Lieutenant.
It's my honor.
Interesting. So, that one is definitely our choice. Made that specific thing happen, but interesting. Yeah, interesting. Because she wouldn't have had the thing otherwise, right? She wouldn't have had the visor.
Look at that.
I don't know how much of a difference it made, but...
Trust, but verify.
Indeed.
Let's go.
We don't have any data about what's below the surface on Delphi Ardu 4. And I don't feel a particularly strong urge to find out.
Then that makes two of us.
Oh, I'm lost. This way. Then we... Oh. Goodbye, path. Doing a little scan. I think it's around here. Is that a Reagan quote? Oh, okay. Well, you know, it's the right time period. Okay.
Good.
Now we move to the next area. I think there's pretty much nothing here but crystals. Oh, is it going to appear again and block off our science officer? No, he's just gone forever now. I understand it. Red crystals. Don't even see any sign of it right now. We're here. One in there somewhere. Just can't see it. It's around the other side, maybe? Oh, it's in here? Oh, that's sneaky.
Tetrametric.
Nice.
Better go see what's different.
Oh, that closes off that area. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Wait, is this the only bit I can access? Which case, wouldn't it be that one right down there? Maybe a crystal on a far-off peak. Oh. Never mind. It'll be that one. I guess a lot of people went, I don't know what to do here.
The way's clear. Good work, Commander.
We'll make sure it's safe.
How are we getting down? Oh, magic. I see. Okay. And then this way. I do love her little sway walk. It is how they walked on the show, but it's very odd. Big crystal. Shoot it.
Incredible.
The plants here are actually alive. Is this the biosignature you detected, Doctor?
No. Not a match.
Yes, I have been drinking that for over 7 hours now. I did just finish it. Thing is, I've just been sipping it. It's not actually soda. There we go.
Tetrametric.
Then it's creating an illusion as well.
Of the whole world?
Based on the data we have so far.
Only one thing left to do.
Doctor, be ready to beam us out if it turns out we're wrong.
Duval to Resolute. Lock transporter on away team.
Let's go.
Amazing.
There's nothing like this in any Federation record.
The plants.
Oh, and this will be portal.
Barbarians.
It's him.
How dare you disturb me? I'd hoped you had enough sense to leave of your own accord, but here you stand. Fools.
He's stern.
In another time, I would have destroyed you and your ship simply for setting foot in this place. Fortunately for you, that time has passed.
Don't let him push us around.
Portal 6-3, Guardian of the Takan Empire. We've come a long way to meet you.
Guardian? I am Guardian of nothing. The Takan no longer exist. I don't care to be reminded. If this is why
Let's be honest.
Then you should leave. Now.
I'll cut right to it. The Takan have returned.
Returned? My people have come back? How can that be? I've been alone for so long. If it is true, how did they return?
Taconian technology made it possible. To enable the transfer of consciousness from one being to another after physical death. We call it bioforming. A group of Taconians calling themselves Scions of the Flame used it to reawaken after hundreds of millennia.
Scions of the Flame?
Is something wrong?
I'd hardly call them Takan. They were a radical faction with beliefs outside the mainstream. Beliefs that lesser life forms should serve as vessels to ensure Takan immortality. You want me to help you destroy them. That's why you've come.
Let's
You
be
want
honest.
to destroy these scions.
I won't lie to you. Yes, we want to destroy them.
You don't mince words.
They have an incredibly powerful energy source they call the Cartabula,
These scions have the Cartabula.
and they've used it as a weapon against us.
I will speak with you alone.
Okay. Oh,
What are you...
okay.
Where are we? Where's my team?
They are safe where we left them. That the scions have stolen the Cartabula is deeply concerning. And to be honest, I'd rather speak with you alone, John Rydick.
Uh-huh. Which is why you teleported away immediately after we got here?
Your colleagues don't know what it means to be the last of one's kind. You and I are remnants of fallen civilizations. The Kobliad, the Takan. One dying, one dead. Our species could not be more different, but we both know the meaning of loss. The others wouldn't understand. It's beyond their ability to comprehend.
Let's go for empathy.
I see you're hurting, and I understand your pain. But pain shouldn't stop us from moving forward.
You do not understand me, nor the pain I feel for the loss of our once glorious empire.
And he's off. Okay. He did the teleporting in the thunder in the original episode. Well, explains why he's doing it now.
Tell me, why spend your days away from your own people when so few of them are left? Why live your life working for this federation to which the Kobliad do not even belong? And
I will take that
submit
compliment in the
yourself to their
spirit of the
authority.
statement, so thank you.
It makes no sense. Not by my logic.
Thank you very much for the bits. I do appreciate it. We believe in the principles, I think.
The Federation isn't an authority to be obeyed. At its heart, it's a set of principles meant to ensure the survival and safety of all species, regardless of their origin. You told Riker you'd wait until you were needed. You're needed now. We need you.
As much as it pains me to learn the Cartabula has fallen into the hands of the Scions, my services are not up for offer.
Okay. Is that symbol at the back? I know it's the symbol on his staff. Is that set very similar to the symbol that we saw originally? I think it might be. Yeah. Okay.
To be chosen as a portal was to give one's entire self to the cause of protecting the Takan Empire. I left behind everything I know, and now you want me to turn against my own people. A betrayal of my oath, and everything I vowed to protect.
This is an interesting one. I want to say they've had their time, but I don't know if that's the answer he wants. They're killing to come back? Or the bioformed are imposters? Well, he said he doesn't believe that he's better than the lesser... He doesn't agree with the being better than lesser beings. So, I think we have to say A. I think A fits.
Every Takan that comes back does so by stealing someone's body. They are killing to come back.
What you call bioforming, we thought of as a marginal science. But if these reborn Takan plan to restore the Empire, is that a disaster to be avoided? Takonian technology is so advanced, it could save millions of species currently on the brink of extinction, including your own. And at the price of a small few, think of how the many could benefit. Instead, it sounds as if you are reacting out of fear before you have a full understanding of what's at stake. I don't think you've given this full consideration. You may have more to gain than to lose.
He said don't make it look like we're acting out of fear. That's what Riker said. So we have to say we won't roll over. You knew bioforming was wrong. Won't just roll over. Takan disappeared for a reason. I think we say we won't... Or maybe we press him on the same issue that we're pressing him on. Let's say you knew bioforming was wrong. I think this is the path for it, yeah.
You told me your people didn't use bioforming. That's because you knew it was wrong. Wrong to employ on an individual basis, and surely wrong on a galactic scale.
You are correct. The Takan did not use bioforming on a large scale. That the way these scions are using it would not have been accepted when the Empire still stood. I'm curious to see these scions masquerading as true Takan. So I will go with you, and we shall find them. But when we do, I will judge them myself as a guardian of the Takan.
Okay.
To understand their true intentions, for better or worse.
Well, it sounds like as is your right? Generally, Federation's policies do not get involved in other species' business, and to a large extent, this is other species' business, so as is your right. Also, interestingly, what they did there was they were calling back to your choice with the ensign who now is the visor. What they were saying is you know, needs of the many better than needs of the few. Sorry, the needs of the many are greater than the needs of the few. But they were doing that again, just saying like, well, if you expand it outwards, is it the same? Interesting.
It's certainly your right to make your own decisions. I won't tell you otherwise.
Very well. I'll return now.
Let's go.
Commander!
Hold your fire. I'm all right. He's coming with us.
We assumed the worst.
She's perfectly fine. Now then, shall we?
All right. We can beam up your... Do you have any equipment or tools?
Whoa.
This is all I need.
Away team +1, ready to beam up.
Okay. So we're going to the final confrontation on this side, which means on the other story? What are we doing? We gonna stop it? There are 2 ships heading this way in theory. The Overload Incident.
4 warp cores. That's interesting.
Redundancy. If one goes down in battle, we can still operate.
Makes this more difficult, though.
This ship can maintain warp with half the cores offline. We'll need to disable 3 of them.
Where are the engine schematics? Power flow routing charts.
We're soldiers, not engineers. I thought you would know what to do.
Well, we have it handled.
We understand how to operate it under normal conditions.
You're in good hands. We can do this.
I trust that you can.
You at least know where we should start?
This way.
Okay. Go, go, go. Anything to look at here? Nope. Alright then. I can't get my phaser out. That was plan A. I'm here.
What are we dealing with?
Okay. chemical. Coolant regulator. The thermostatic sensor relays temperature signals to automated coolant valve controls. Okay. No biological here, so it must be this. Radiation casing. Radiation resistant casing protecting the warp core's matter/antimatter reaction chamber. And then this. Elydian warp core. One of 4 warp cores powering the Zeldi. Thermal output indicates each core alone could not sustain minimal warp, but harmonic infusion of at least 2 cores would produce an exponential increase in power. Cool. We did it.
Running really hot. Makes sense, since they've been producing at max output since we left Hotari space.
No ship can run for very long like that. Not before a catastrophic failure hits.
It's right on the edge. We just need to figure out a way to give it a push.
Bet that console down there could tell us a few things.
Okay, console. Let's go. There's still nothing to look at, so yeah, let's just go for it. Game has gone, this is solving puzzle time, so we shall solve puzzles.
Whatever we do, we need to make sure that Takan can't undo it.
So we need a way to permanently disable the reactors that won't destroy the ship and kill us all in the process.
You thinking what I'm thinking?
Warp core ejection. So the question is, how do we make it happen?
Coolant system?
The reactor coolant system is operating at emergency containment levels.
It's just barely keeping the temperature in check.
Maybe we can use that. If it gets this high, their system considers a reactor breach imminent. Like we saw on the bridge, all 4 warp cores are operating at full capacity.
Safety protocols?
The safety protocols don't look much different from the Resolute. Breach protection. Reduce output, command override. Cease matter-antimatter flow, command override. Emergency warp core ejection. Computer control.
Even command functions can't override one of the most crucial safety measures.
So the protocol's still active. That's good.
Okay.
Looks like if sensors show a core is about to rupture, the computer will eject it automatically rather than risk a breach.
So we need to increase the warp core's temperatures.
If we destroy the coolant regulators, there won't be anything to keep these reactors from going over.
And it will trigger the ejection. Let's peel these suckers open. I'll take that one.
I'll take the one next to it.
The second you two start dumping cores, the Takan will know we're here.
We'll be vulnerable. Stuck in one place while you work.
We will have to make a stand.
Well, start thinking about escape.
Start thinking about an escape plan. I have a feeling we're gonna need one.
We'll barricade the door. Work quickly.
Okay. Let's go. Interesting music, given the circumstances.
We might not have
Okay.
our tools, but our phasers can do this in a pinch.
Let's get it.
We better get this right. If we foul it up and this whole thing goes boom...
Well,
don't know how much damage that Cartabula will do.
you just gotta do the work.
If we accidentally crack it open.
Listen, the best way to make sure something goes wrong is to stress. Keep your mind on the job. We'll be okay.
Yeah, we will. It's not a Starfleet warp core, but the coolant regulator has to be in here somewhere.
Okay. Oh, moving it in. We did it!
There you are. Time to heat things up.
Ah, I thought there was going to be some kind of technical plan.
Warning.
But the technical plan is shoot
Warp
it.
core output at critical level. Ejecting core.
Okay, now they're definitely gonna know we're down here.
Warp core output at critical level. Ejecting core.
Well, that's at least going to slow it down.
They're here.
They're cutting through the door. We
That
don't
was
have much
quick.
time.
Okay, same as before. We just gotta...
Okay, down. Shoot him. Shoot him. How did we do? Did okay? Got a fair number of them.
Go! Finish!
Okay, go. Oh, she's gonna get shot, and that's why we only need 3.
Hey! Would you mind not shooting at the matter-antimatter reactor?
I'll cover you.
What? No!
Get the warp done. We're all dead.
Yeah, that's why we only need 3. It's because that way we can cover, and that's our role. Okay, I think I got all of them on the side. Perfect.
Now, got it! No!
Shoot it.
Shoot! Now!
Got it. Sort of.
All core output at critical level. Ejecting core. Warp drive disengaged.
Did it.
You got another way out of here?
I think so.
Oh no! Oh, that wasn't our guy. Okay.
Itasca, can you climb?
I'll see you on the parade grounds of Surella, my friend.
Just like, I really hope that salute doesn't get co-opted
me?
by a
I'm
horrible
right
organization in the next couple of years, given how many times we've done that so far. Stream, but okay.
Not you too.
Calm yourself, child.
Oh no.
It will all be better soon. Wake up, Manko Umet. Return to us. Rejoin the flame.
To reclaim what was lost.
How is this game? It's fantastic.
Watch this.
I do. I want to remember every moment when I make them pay. But this isn't the end. I will avenge Itasca. Swear to me, you will join me in this.
How about we try to save her?
That's a dream.
Okay, we're gonna say we have a mission, but just to answer your question, yeah, it is fantastic. It's filled with a ton of great details if you're really into Trek. One thing I will say is I think we're near the end, so you know, if you're gonna buy it, I would probably like not watch too much more. But yeah, it's great.
We have a mission. We have to stay on track because this is bigger than all of us.
They defile my poor Itasca with every moment they take breath in her body. I will not let that stand.
And back to the other side. Other side? Stranger among us? You can't be calling them imposters and then
so
calling
much I want
one
to
of the
ask
episodes Among Us.
There's so little I can tell you. I'm a portal, not a scientist, but I'll certainly do my best. I can only assume this is one of your older starships. One would think, given the importance of your mission, they might send a ship of a more recent vintage.
It's a research ship.
Apparently not.
The Resolute is primarily a research vessel, if that's what you mean. Not a warship.
Although she has been known to hold her own in a fight.
Against what?
I like this guy.
Something wrong?
Not at all. The galaxy has grown more diverse since the days of the Takan Empire.
Because you conquered everyone who didn't look like you.
To the contrary. Most lesser civilizations willingly joined the Empire to enjoy the benefits of an advanced way of life. But that expansion came with its own set of problems, so I admire your ability to diversify without creating conflict. That was always our challenge. And perhaps, ultimately, our downfall.
Let's say it's our greatest strength.
The Federation prides itself on its inclusiveness. I'd say it's one of our greatest strengths.
As the Vulcans say, infinite diversity in infinite combinations.
Interesting. I'd be curious to meet one of these Vulcans.
Well, we have one.
If this is the best you have, then so be it. To locate this scion, Galvin, I'll need full access to your ship's systems.
Full access?
Huh. You must be out of your mind.
No, I'm right here, completely in my mind. Given this is merely a research ship, I won't be able to find him without it. Perhaps I should have made that clear up front.
Shouldn't be a problem.
I'll need to make certain modifications.
That shouldn't be a problem.
Excellent.
Solano's gonna flip when he hears this.
I'll see you on the bridge. Captain Solano, I'd like to introduce you to Portal 6-3, Guardian of the Takan Empire.
Pleasure to meet you, Captain.
Likewise. I can't say I've ever met a portal before. There is no modern equivalent. Not within the Federation, at least.
It's a prestigious position.
I've learned it's a very prestigious position in Takan society. Or was, I suppose. Not just anyone is selected for the role.
And fewer still are suited for it.
How impressive. You spent 600,000 years at your post. That certainly takes an uncommon level of dedication.
We all have our duty.
Of course. But I'm curious. You were stationed there in preparation for what, exactly?
Any and all threats to the Empire.
An empire that no longer exists. Which suggests you weren't very successful.
You said you needed my help. I didn't come here to be insulted. Perhaps that was a mistake. I'd be happy to return to Delphi Ardu at any time.
We do need your help.
And we do need your help. Absolutely. And we are grateful that you decided to come.
And your captain has an odd way of expressing his gratitude.
I'm merely curious where your allegiances might lie. And Clearly it's with the Takan.
Yes, Captain. You have found me out and exposed my true loyalties to the Takan, not to the Scions of the Flame, who do nothing more than tarnish us in name and reputation and don't deserve to be called Takan. That's why I'm here. And if you'd be so kind as to give me access to your ship's systems, we can get on with it. And you can stop wasting my time.
Access to our systems? That's completely out of the question. Tell me that's not what you promised. We're vulnerable enough as it is. And now we're supposed to give him access to everything? Ridiculous.
Captain, I know it's a risk, but right now it's our best shot at finding Galvin and that ship.
Here she was, naive enough to believe it wouldn't be a problem. Little did she realize the levels of ignorance and incompetence she was up against.
Oh no.
If you're not enjoying your visit to our ship, we'd be more than happy to let you wither away back on your pathetic little rock.
Captain?
Oh, no. You clearly do not appreciate the magnitude of the threat the Scions pose. So myopic is your focus on your own ego. I will not be leaving until they have been found.
Commander Rydek, a word.
I think we need to call the doctor.
And to think, I waited 600,000 years for this.
I think she might be able to help us with our
You realize this
problem.
puts me in an incredibly difficult position. I was against seeking him out from the start, but now, to give him access to our systems? It's insane. And you somehow expect me to believe his allegiance is with us? You heard what he said in there. There's no way we can trust him.
No, we just say he stands with us.
We talked about this on Delphi Ardu. The reason he's here is because he's with us, not them. He came to help us, and he wouldn't be here otherwise.
We can't afford to get this wrong.
We sought him out for a reason. To help him find our missing crew, Galvin, and those Elydian ships. This is the plan we agreed to with Ambassador Spock.
Which I never liked. But here we are. You know what this mission means to us. Not just for the Federation, but for me personally. I can't afford another screw-up. Losing the shield algorithms was bad enough. This could be the end of my career.
I'm sorry, Captain. You know I support you, but millions of lives and the future of the Federation are at stake here. Both of which are more important right now than your career.
It's not just mine. It's both of ours.
Then so be it.
I'm going to trust your instincts on this one.
Oh, good.
I just hope you're right. For both of our sakes. Let me know if you find anything.
I know you're out there saving the universe, but have you considered my career?
We're good. You may begin.
Oh dear.
I will of course have to make a few modifications.
What kind of modifications?
To find Takonian technology requires Takonian technology. If this Scion Galvin modified his ships, then I must do likewise to yours.
Okay.
The galaxy is nearly infinite in size and complexity. This may take a moment.
How long
I
will it
found
take?
something.
Oh, okay.
There you are.
What is it? Galvin?
Someone is using Takonian technology. I can't get the precise bearings, but it's located in the Palisades cluster.
I'll let the captain know. Rydek to Solano. I think Portal may have located Galvin.
I'll be right there.
I'm getting all kinds of interference. Almost impossible to lock on the energy signature.
Where's he hiding?
In the Palisades cluster.
Interesting. Can you lock in on the location?
Not until you get me closer.
Lieutenant Handar, set a course for the Palisades cluster.
Aye, Captain.
Well, I suppose I owe you an apology. You were right after all. That's what I get for questioning the advice of my first officer. You always have my back.
Let's throw him a bone.
No apology necessary. Your concerns were valid.
Nonetheless, I should learn to trust your instincts, which were absolutely right. Nice work. Let me know if you find anything more.
Will do. What's wrong?
I didn't want to say anything until I was certain. But the reason for the interference is simple. There's a Taconian device on this ship being used to block the signal. Whoever planted it was exceptionally clever. They knew how and where to hide it. But they have underestimated my abilities.
Engineering.
Take care of the Taconian device, and I can find Galvin for you.
Okay.
It's designed to interfere with all transmissions, or at least delay and confuse the effort to find Galvin's ship.
Is there a Takan on board?
Hold on. My understanding is that Takan technology requires a Takan to operate.
How does she know this? Wait, how does she know this? Because this is stuff that we got confirmed on the other guy's path, but we didn't get confirmed on her path. Well, unless you're talking about the bit where she was underground. Anyway, I'm nitpicking.
Is there another Takan on this ship?
The Scions could have someone on the ship, doing everything they can to stop us from finding Galvin.
Don't worry, I'll get this fixed. We're going to find that ship.
Wait a second. What if it's the captain? That would explain
Engineers
something.
would have found this device already if it wasn't well hidden. Better to rely on my tricorder. There's a lot of noise in here.
Can we explore
we should
here?
scan the device putting out the most radiation to filter it out.
Okay, that'll be you. We'd assume anyway.
That's better. Most other radiation sources in here are well contained. There's definitely tetrametric radiation nearby. But even with the gain boosted, it's getting drowned out by other sources of radiation in here.
Let's put that away for a second. Right in here.
A little bit of harmless radiation leakage here, but enough to mask the tetrametric pulses. Easy enough to cancel out. There's still something drowning out the tetrametric radiation.
Must be on the other side.
So I could filter it out as well.
You have been saying the captain needs to be jettisoned for hours, but you know, we might have a reason now. Over here. We can't run here. It's engineering. Come on, have some respect.
Jeffrey's tubes thump harmonics from all over the ship. I'll filter that out. There we go. I'm getting a clear tetrametric signal now.
It's in the last place we would expect, the last room. Oh, is this from the, I'm wondering if it's from the thing we brought on board. I don't know. Where is it? Oh, there we go.
Found it.
Excuse me. Do you belong here?
Oh, it's him.
Commander Rydek. I'm sorry. I didn't know it was you. Good to see you again, Commander. I've been keeping my eyes and ears open, just like you said.
Glad to hear it.
What, are you doing back here? I don't mean to pry, but first officers don't usually go digging around engineering
routine
compartments.
check.
Just a routine systems check. We've been having problems with our comms lately.
Ah, that's news to me. I haven't heard anything about it.
Well, that's because the
Probably
comms are
because
broken.
the comm system isn't working. Have you seen anyone else in here recently that might seem out of the ordinary? Maybe someone who doesn't work in engineering.
Not that I can think of, but I can ask around. I'm here almost all the time, but maybe someone else noticed something?
I'll ask Chovak myself.
Thanks, but I'll talk to Commander Chovak about it.
Okay. Well, let me know if I can be of any help.
Okay, well, he went away.
I'll leave you alone already. Oh, come to think of it, that Hotari woman was down here earlier with Dr. Duvall finishing the last of the bioscans.
Tylus?
That would be out of the ordinary, right?
Thank you.
Tylus and the doctor? Maybe that's why the Doctor's on our side for a mutiny. I understand.
Maybe Tylus saw something.
It does appear to be warping us between places right now, like really quickly, which to me would indicate, based on other similar games of the type, that it's moving the story along quickly, would be my thought, towards a point. I'd be wrong though.
Tylus, can I speak to you for a moment?
Of course. Is something wrong?
There's something happening. I may need your help. This is important.
How can I help?
When you were in engineering with Dr. Duval, did you notice anything out of the ordinary? Or anyone?
Not particularly. Why?
I found this, hidden in a compartment down there.
That's Taconian technology. Does that mean there's a Scion on board? But Dr. Duval bioscanned everyone. Every deck, every crew member. I've seen the logs. She couldn't have been more thorough.
Someone evaded detection.
Someone evaded detection and planted that device.
Which would mean they've been with us this whole time. Watching, listening.
All the more reason why we have to find them.
It could be anyone.
That includes both of us.
You want me to get scanned? Better to know for sure, right?
Yes.
I'll admit, I was around the Scions as much as anybody.
I would feel more comfortable if you did.
I understand.
Clear.
Now it's your turn.
Okay.
Sure.
Clear.
Don't sound so surprised.
You spend plenty of time with the Scions as well. You never know.
Let's get to it. The search starts in engineering. Whoever planted the device most likely did it within the last few hours. So I'll start by running a scan, tracking everyone who came through engineering over the last day, in reverse order.
This could take forever to sort through the number of people that were in engineering.
Duplicates?
I'll filter out the duplicates.
That helps.
Yeah, I was wondering if the Doctor had scanned herself. Hotari delegation?
Cross-referencing this list with everyone who's traveled to Hotari.
Now this is manageable.
Non-engineering personnel?
Filtering for outliers. People who don't work in engineering. Let's see who's left.
The captain?
No. This can't be right.
What?
Of the people that went to Hotari and visited engineering, it could only have been Captain Solano.
According to this, he was here while you went down to Delphi Ardu 4. Which would have been the perfect opportunity.
It adds
and
up.
No one would question him. He's the captain.
As much as I hate to admit it, assuming it's true, it does explain why he was so opposed to getting help from Portal.
And he made several trips to Hotari, so they had plenty of opportunity to target him.
What happened when Dr. Duval bioscanned Captain Solano?
That's just it. She never did.
How is that possible?
Something more urgent would always come up. There was nothing she could do. But performing a bioscan is the only way to be absolutely sure.
That's not going to be easy. First thing I need to do is get this device to Portal.
Be careful. And good luck.
Okay.
I'll need it. I've found the device.
Interference is gone. I have located Galvin's ship more precisely. He's in the Usonia system.
So then it worked.
This whole region was one of the most sacred for the ancient Takan. What many consider the birthplace of our civilization. See these comets and planetoids in the outer orbits? Based on their current trajectory, that's Galvin's destination. And legend tells us it's the location of what was once our largest arsenal. Not that we needed it in the late stages of the Empire, but it was there as a precaution nonetheless.
What kind of weapons?
What kind of weapons are in this arsenal?
It's difficult to know what would have survived from the time of the Empire, but be assured that the damage they have done so far by altering your current technology will be minuscule compared to proper Taconian firepower. If Galvin and the other Scions secure the arsenal, they will become extremely dangerous. My people had such power at the height of the Empire. The Takan were as gods, keeping absolute control over countless worlds. I must speak with them directly. However, the presence of this device is worrying. It's highly likely it was placed here by a Scion, hidden among your crew, and it is unlikely this interference device was the Scion Saboteur's only trap. If we reach Galvin and the Saboteur cripples your ship, we will be at their mercy. Even my powers will not be able to protect us. Do you know who it is? They may well do more damage if left alone.
I think it's Solano.
Time is not on your side.
I'm fairly convinced they bioformed Captain Solano.
I knew there was a reason I didn't like him. That explains it. Bioforming was so rare in the time of the Empire that I am not able to detect if it has taken place. Proof of your claim is something you will have to produce yourself.
Then we have to bioscan him. I'll talk to Dr. Duvall.
Okay.
It's quite the claim. Told me you were worried about him. But I never imagined this was what was wrong.
I wouldn't be asking you if there was any other possibility.
That would explain why Solano has been too busy for a bioscan lately.
As the ship's doctor, you have the authority to declare him unfit to serve.
If you're right, this is the worst case scenario. Challenging your own captain is a tall order. Are you sure you're prepared for this?
Mm-hmm.
If you
Absolutely.
fail, that's it. The end of your career.
I am. I have to be.
I want the captain seat.
You know what this is going to take. I'm in. But we can't pull this off with just the two of us. I technically have the authority to make Solano undergo a scan, but in reality, he can and will refuse to do it. We need at least another member of the senior staff to support your claim, or this could all blow up in our faces.
Science officer.
You better think long and hard about who you can trust.
The science officer. I trust the science officer. Oh, we're back. The blood of battle? Okay. Still going.
Down to one reactor. I thought we'd be stopped dead. At least stuck at impulse power.
The Takan enhancements must be able to brute force limited bursts of warp output.
Yeah, but they won't get to wherever they were headed at this rate. They're just limping along now.
So where does that put us?
Maybe I can answer that.
Find a working console. Well, is also the only thing we can do, so let's do it. Crouch. Okay, so we have crouch, no tricorder, no phaser. This way. Well, this is the only console, so I'm gonna say it's probably the working one. Oh, we have to then do this star map.
I got the ship's heading.
They've changed course. Drastically.
Looks like they're headed here. The Usonia system. They might stop there.
Can we use the Zeldi's comms to signal your fleet?
Comm systems are locked.
Grab hold!
Oh. Oh, got it.
Oh!
The inertial dampeners can barely keep up. If they keep forcing this ship to make these short warp jumps, they're going to tear it apart.
The Zeldi is still made by Lydian hands, despite all this Takan corruption. We'll hold.
We just gotta stay safe until Starfleet can find us.
Okay.
Your people. Is there somewhere you go when you die?
Life after death? No. On my homeworld, some people think they can cheat death in a way by joining with the Trill symbiont. But that's not a life to me.
What about you? Is there another plane of existence for you? With every passing battle, as I get older, I think about it more.
Yeah, she's unjoined.
I think there's just no way for us to know what happens after we die.
Really?
Maybe there's something more, maybe not. But I can't discount the possibility. You can't prove a negative.
Then maybe you can understand this. My people have a special journey. When Lydians die, we rejoin our comrades, family, and ancestors.
On the parade grounds of Cirella?
That is just one part of it, but yes. Death is not the end for us. So, even if some part of Itasca remains, by letting the Takan use her body, at best we are delaying the inevitable next step for her. At worst, we are leaving her as a prisoner in her own mind. You want to save the transformed. So do I.
Now that I've seen it happen, does it make me a hypocrite to say he has a point? What if we can't get them back? We can't leave them like that, right?
Not leaving this game with her girlfriend.
Would want to be released.
I know it's awful to think about, but if they're still alive, we can still try to help them. We lose that option once they're dead.
I had a sister, a twin. It's very rare among the Trill.
You never told me that.
She was one of the youngest hosts to ever join with the symbiont. A sentient creature that lives in our body. It's considered a great honor. The symbiont can bring centuries of knowledge and wisdom to the host. But sometimes, the symbiont personality suppresses the host entirely. My sister was the closest person in the world to me. I knew she would be different after joining. But she drew more and more distant. The room we shared growing up was foreign to the both of us. And eventually she, or whoever she'd become, cut me out entirely. So I left for Starfleet and swore I'd never go back. I couldn't stand the thought of seeing her. Someone who looked like my sister. Sounded like her. But wasn't.
I don't think we can say A or Y. I think we have to then say X.
So, losing Miranda like this, it opened an old wound.
Never really closed up in the first place.
You remind me of Itasca.
I do?
Bonds are not made by what runs through your veins, but the blood you spilled together. Itasca was my family in that way. I want you to know there is nothing I won't sacrifice to win this fight. But if we're lucky enough to survive, I'd be honored if you'd count me as one of your tribe. As Itasca was.
You already
Even
are.
A couple of engineers like us.
You are many things.
I don't need to wait that long. We've bled together. No one else will know what we've been through. That makes us a tribe. Right here.
I'll take that.
Will they not cease this madness?
Lower decks diplomacy. Yeah.
What is this place?
Is that the Veskar?
Another one of yours?
Not anymore. They've corrupted it, just like the Zeldi.
Now there are two ships. Did this just get better? Or worse?
It certainly doesn't bode well for the crew of the Veskar.
That's up to
So
us.
many lives stolen.
We're really at the heart of this fight now. We just gotta figure out what we're gonna do about it.
This doesn't look like the Ophelia. What are they doing here?
You don't think they're just meeting their buddies?
Maybe, but then why are their buddies here?
Prepare for transfer.
The storm! It's back!
No.
What happened?
Hold on. Scanning. Geometric radiation is dropping. The Zeldy's dropped to minimal power levels.
It's running off just the one warp core now.
That means...
They've sent the Cartabula to that other ship.
Ah, so that's why they changed course.